Hola everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into 10 things that you can start doing right now, hoy día, today, to start mejorando el español as a no Sabo kid, or as I prefer to call us, heritage speaker. If you're not a heritage speaker or no Sabo kid, these will work for you as well. We're gonna dive deep into each one of these tips and talk about how you can do them effectively and some ideas for implementing them. Let's get started. First up, write 5 positive affirmations and repeat them to yourself throughout the week. Affirmations, in case you don't know, are just statements that can boost your confidence and motivation. Now, instead of saying them in English like you might already be doing, start saying them in Spanish. First week, keep it simple. Keep your affirmations in the present tense. You can look up some vocabulary words that describe your personality and practice using the yo form of the verb ser. You use the verb ser to describe personality traits and characteristics that are core to your identity. So, por ejemplo, soy inteligente, soy capaz de mejorar el español, soy trabajadora, y soy muy chingona. Once you've mastered some of the present tense affirmations, try playing around with some future tense or some conditional tense, subjunctive even. Por ejemplo, tendré un día maravilloso. I will have an amazing day or a marvelous day. Hoy voy a romperla en todo lo que haga. Haga right there is an example of subjunctive tense. Now again, start where you are grammatically. If you need to stay in present tense for a while, do that. But then as you progress and get better week by week, start writing your affirmations with more complex verb structures. The next thing that you can start doing right away is finding a Spanish TV show to watch. Watching a Spanish TV show is a great way to improve your listening skills. If you need to, turn the English subtitles on, especially as you're getting used to it, and work towards maybe changing those subtitles to Spanish or removing them altogether. Watching Spanish TV shows helps you get used to different accents. If you really want to focus on a specific accent, and find a show that was produced in that specific country. There's a ton of TV shows on all of the streaming platforms. I just watched Love is Blind Mexico, and oh my gosh, that helped me learn so much Mexican slang. La Casa de Papel is another good one. That one's based out of Spain. Narcos is another popular one on Netflix, based out of Colombia. Vis-a-vis, Las Chicas del Cable, Cable Girls, this one's another Spain one. There's so many. Literally just go onto Google, search in genre and Spanish TV show, you'll find one that you'll like for sure. Kind of a little hack if you need to. If you're watching a show on Netflix from your phone or your tablet or iPad, you can actually slow down the speed. If thinking about the idea of listening to really fast-paced native Spanish speaking is intimidating, just put it on your iPad at first and slow down that speed just a little bit so you feel more comfortable understanding. Number 3 is switch the language on your phone to Spanish. This simple change can better immerse you in your day-to-day life in Spanish, and it's gonna help you pick up on vocabulary that you use daily. I've recently done this to my phone, and I still am in the habit of searching for whatever app I'm looking for in English, but the cool thing is that your phone's smart enough to know what you're asking for. So if I type in weather, for example, on my phone, it'll bring up el clima. So I'm associating the English name of the app with the Spanish name. All you have to do is go to your phone setting, find the language options, and switch it to Spanish. Start seeing your notification, your app labels, all of that in Spanish. Give it a few days, give it a little bit, because at first it can seem like a really start, like holy crap, I don't know what I'm doing on my phone. So give it a couple of days, start to get used to it before you're like, nope, immediately no. Don't give up on this one right away. Really gotta take some time with it. Number 4, journal about your day in Spanish. You can do this with pen and paper and practice writing, or you can even do a vlog type of journal where you're recording yourself speaking in Spanish. Now, you're the only one that's gonna see that, so don't be intimidated, don't be overwhelmed. Journaling in general, whichever way you choose to do it, it's a really great way to practice your vocabulary, your grammar structures, and to go slow, especially if you're writing, because it really forces you to think about what you're trying to say. Think about what verb tense you want to use. Don't feel like you have to write super long paragraphs. Start with a couple of sentences and work up from there. Take the time to look up the vocabulary that you want to say and to maybe check your grammar with an AI tool or a translator. While it's good to check your grammar from time to time, don't just get stuck on not knowing what to write that you don't write anything. Get those words out on paper. Get those words out of your mouth if you're doing a video blog. My favorite part about journaling in Spanish is that it's a really good indicator of your progress throughout time too. So if you start writing now, you're gonna see tremendous improvements in a few months from now, in a year from now. And same goes for if you're video blogging. You're gonna see yourself become more confident as you describe your day in front of your video camera. Number 5, Read a book in Spanish. Now, if you know anything about me, my platform, you know that I love to read in Spanish, and I'm always encouraging people to read in Spanish, specifically reading a book that's at your level. I even host a Spanish book club on Discord that anyone can join. We have 3 different groups that meet: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. We also have a romance book club for anyone that wants to do that. We just have fun reading in Spanish. We go slow, we learn new vocabulary words, we review grammar structures. When I'm trying to mejorar a particular grammar structure, I will seek it out as I read, and I'll highlight it and be like, okay, there's that grammar structure that I'm really struggling with. I reread it a few times, and that really helps cement it for me. If you're a new reader, you want to start with children's books. Go to the library, see what they have in their Spanish section, open up a picture book and start reading. If you're a brand new reader and really intimidated by the thought of reading in Spanish, I like to recommend Mo Williams as an author to start with. He's the one that writes the Pig and Elephant series, also like Pigeon series. So look for those books in your library. They're usually fairly common, and your library is probably going to have a few. If you feel more confident reading in Spanish, you might try an easy reader chapter book. These are the books that we read in the Intermediate Spanish Book Club. Things like Magic Treehouse, but in Spanish. They're really good for intermediate readers because they have less words per page than your typical chapter book. The language is a little bit simpler. You can really hone in on those new words that you're learning, things like that. And then finally, if you feel pretty confident in reading, go see what's in the young adult section or even the adult section. So the young adult section I always recommend too, because you're going to have simpler themes, which does help as you're reading in a second language. If you're like, I got this, go to the adult section. Most well-known books are usually published and available in Spanish, and if it's a well-known English publication, it's typically going to have a pretty solid Spanish translation. Now, if it's a lesser-known, more obscure book, then you might run into some translation abnormalities, but really I've found that well-established, well-known books are going to have equally well-written translations. Last thing I'll say about reading is that it's okay if your speaking skills and your reading skills seem a bit lopsided. You might be more comfortable and familiar conversationally speaking in Spanish, but you've never really read before. You might have to start at a lower level, and that's totally fine. You'll pick it up quickly and you'll be ready to move on to the next level before you know it. Number 6, learn the words to a Spanish song. Maybe you have a favorite Spanish song that you always listen to, but you don't quite know all the words. Time to go look up the lyrics. Look up the lyrics, sing the song, look up any new vocabulary words in the song that you don't know, and have fun with it. Now, if you're not really a big Spanish music listener, go to Spotify and go look up the top Latin 100, or if you have a family member that likes to listen to Spanish music, ask them what song they recommend. Find a catchy song, make sure you enjoy it, and you'll have a lot of fun with this one. Number 7, call a friend or a family member who speaks Spanish and talk to them about their day. A lot of people who are heritage speakers, they have family members who speak Spanish. There is an element of judgment or shame sometimes when it comes to a heritage speaker who doesn't really feel confident speaking Spanish. They might feel kind of judged by their family member. Now, I really hate that that happens, but it does happen. So make sure that whoever you call, your friend or family member, is trusted. They're not going to judge your Spanish speaking skills. They're going to support you. If you really don't have anybody like that, there are language exchange programs that you can look into. Hello Talk. I do have conversation hours from time to time on my Discord that I run with the book club. And then also I do offer one-on-one Spanish tutoring and conversations that you can sign up for. I know what it's like to be a Spanish heritage speaker, to really feel like your Spanish skills are lacking. I understand that motivation to really improve your Spanish, so you can always do that. You can check the description for details if you're ready for that step. If you're just not ready to speak out loud to anybody, practice a phone call simulation. Go to ChatGPT and ask it to help you with a simulated conversation. It can give you prompts and you can then speak it out loud. You can even ask it for potential responses and then practice saying those. Number 8, go and follow a Spanish speaking social media account. Preferably a native Spanish speaker who's just making their everyday content in Spanish. It's kind of fun to see what the trends are in Spanish speaking countries. You can learn some slang this way. You can see more colloquial or casual conversation. A really niche down creator if you're interested in a specific topic. I have a few that I recommend. I'll list them in the descriptions below. These are just some of my favorites who I follow on TikTok or YouTube or whatever platform it is that they use. Once you follow an account, start engaging with the account by commenting, liking, sharing. It's a really great way to feel connected to that account and start feeling part of that community. Number 9, I want you to start labeling some things around your house. Do you know how to say sink in Spanish? Do you know how to say pantry in Spanish? Go find some sticky notes and write it down. So sink, in case you didn't know, is fregadero. And pantry, I don't even know that one. Be right back. I gotta go look that one up. Pantry is despensa. So I'm gonna be getting a sticky note today and I'm going to be labeling that. But go around your kitchen and label the vocabulary words that you don't know. And if you have young kids and you're trying to teach them Spanish, this is a really fun way to engage with them and include them in the language learning process. Once you learn the new vocabulary words, maybe change your sticky notes on a weekly basis so that you're continually learning more, but that you're also not overwhelming yourself by labeling literally every little thing in your house all at the same time. This constant exposure is gonna really help cement those new words in your vocabulary. Number 10, practice your Spanish pronunciation with some tongue twisters. These are fun ways to improve your enunciation and your fluency, so here's a few that you can start with. Tres tristes tigres tragan trigo en un trigal. This one's really good for those double R's. R con R cigarro. R con R barril, rápido ruedan los carros, rápido el ferrocarril. That one I gotta go practice saying that one faster. R con R cigarro, R con R barril, rápido ruedan los carros, rápido el ferrocarril. R con R cigarro, R con R barril, rápido ruedan los carros, rápido el ferrocarril. That one's a good one. Alright amigos, those are 10 fun and practical tips that you can start doing to mejorar el español starting today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe for more content about mejorando our heritage language. I'll see you in the next video.